स्टडी IQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
कई बार मन में सवाल आता होगा कि इस प्रिपरेशन को शुरू तो कर दिया है, मजा भी आ रहा है, तभी आप इस वीडियो में हैं, सीखने को तो मिल रहा है, लेकिन क्या उतना पढ़ा जा रहा है जितना इस एग्जाम को क्लियर करने के लिए जरूरी है? क्योंकि अल्टीमेट ऑब्जेक्टिव तो क्या है? योर नेम इन मेरिट लिस्ट। तो देखिए, कंटेंट तो सेम है, लेकिन कंटेंट को यूज करने की हमें स्किल डेवलप करनी है। कैसे होगी वो स्किल डेवलप? पहले तो भाई टाइम से हर एक सब्जेक्ट का कंटेंट तैयार होना चाहिए। अगर आप वो कर रहे हैं ठीक है, लेकिन इफ यू वांट टू टेक हेल्प तो आप स्टडी IQ की हेल्प ले सकते हैं। जो स्टडी IQ का P2I प्रोग्राम है, आप स्टडी IQ ऐप या वेबसाइट पर देख सकते हैं। P2I मतलब प्रीलिम्स से लेकर इंटरव्यू तक का एक प्रोग्राम। तो ये एक प्रोग्राम के अंदर 4 फेजेस हैं। तो उस 4 फेजेस के थ्रू पहले ही फेज में आपका कंप्लीट सिलेबस हो जाएगा। तो इट इज लाइक द बेसिक थिंग, ये तो करना ही है। इसके बाद आता है कि हमें स्किल्स डेवलप करनी है, यानी कि उस कंटेंट का प्रीलिम्स में इस्तेमाल हो सके, उस कंटेंट का मेंस में इस्तेमाल हो सके, यानी कि आंसर राइटिंग। फिर हमें असेसमेंट चाहिए बीच बीच में, जिससे कि हमें कमियां पता लगती रहें। तो इसके लिए भी P2I में आपको प्रीलिम्स मेंस दोनों की टेस्ट सीरीज दी जा रही है। वीकेंड पर भी टेस्ट होते हैं, प्लस डेली मेंस आंसर राइटिंग होती है। तो आपको नहीं लगता अगर इतना कोई मेहनत आपके साथ कर ले तो आप करना तो चाहते हैं, बट एक पाथवे नहीं है, तो P2I प्रोग्राम वो पाथवे आपके लिए साबित हो सकता है। तो टेक हेल्प ऑफ दिस। फिर आपके मन में कभी कभी जो डाउट आता है उसको ढूंढने के लिए आपका काफी समय जाया हो जाता है। जाया इसलिए कह रहा हूं क्योंकि हो सकता है उस डाउट को ढूंढने के लिए आपने 1 घंटा लगा दिया, क्योंकि उससे एसोसिएटेड काफी सारी चीजें नई नई पता लगती चली गई आपको। ऐसे में इस टाइम को रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं आप। एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड क्या उस डाउट से रिलेटेड नॉलेज आपको चाहिए, वो आपको एक पर्सनल मेंटोर बता सकता है। तो इस कोर्स में फैकल्टीज तो आपके साथ हैं ही। इस पूरी जर्नी में आपको पर्सनल मेंटोर दिया जा रहा है, आप उसकी हेल्प लीजिए। आप कॉल व्हाट्सएप पर कभी भी उनके साथ कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं। उनका नंबर आपको इस कोर्स में स्पेसिफिकली आपको अलॉट होगा। तो अल्टीमेटली आपका टाइम बचेगा, कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा प्रिपरेशन में। फिर जैसे आप प्रीलिम्स क्लियर कर लेते हैं तो उसके बाद मेंस रेजिडेंशियल प्रोग्राम, ये इसका सेकंड फेज मतलब थर्ड फेज कहिए, क्योंकि पहले फेज में फाउंडेशन है, फिर सक्सेस इन प्रीलिम्स है, फिर MRPA मेंस रेजिडेंशियल प्रोग्राम। फिर उसके लिए आप दिल्ली बुला लिया जाता है आपको। यहाँ पर आप मतलब जो फूडिंग लॉजिंग एवरीथिंग इज टेकन केयर बाय स्टडी IQ। और उसके बाद फिर रिगरस प्रिपरेशन होती है आपकी मेंस के हिसाब से, यानी कि हर एक जो आपका पेपर है, GS है, लैंग्वेज है, essay है, हर एक की तैयारी यहीं पर हम आपको अपने सामने कराते हैं। उसके बाद जैसे आप मेंस क्लियर करते हैं तो इंटरव्यू गाइडेंस प्रोग्राम, वहाँ पर आपके कोहोर्ट्स बनते हैं, जिसमें डिस्कशन के थ्रू जो आपके अदर एस्पिरेंट्स हैं, जो आपके साथ इंटरव्यू देने वाले हैं, तो आप अपनी स्किल्स को पॉलिश करते हैं। साथ में ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, फॉर्मर टॉपर्स, ये सब फैकल्टीज आपको मिलकर गाइड करते हैं। फाइनली व्हेन यू आर थ्रू इनटू द मेरिट लिस्ट, देन फिर आपको लगता है कि हाँ, इट वाज ऑल वर्थ इट। मिलते हैं आपसे क्लासेस में, ख्याल रखिए। जय हिंद।
Hello everyone, I hope this message finds you fit and fine. Today we need to talk about part 1 of Indian Constitution. Part 1 has 4 articles. Article 1, 2, 3, 4. Consider someone who belongs to other part of the world and that person is holding our Constitution. And as that person turns the page and opens part 1. Now what do you think he or she should expect from this part 1? So I hope you would think, yes, if this is the entity, the political entity whom we call India. I'm using the word political entity because Constitution is giving you the framework, the way this political structure is going to function, right? So don't you think the first part, the first article should actually tell us the name of this entity? Right? And this is exactly what is mentioned in Article 1. India, that is Bharat. Right? What is the second thing you expect? Name. Along with name, you should expect the territory. Means, what is the territorial expense of that area? Right? And not just territory. How this territory is organized? Is it one administrative unit controlled from one central authority? Or do we have some other constituent units, states or UTs? The way this political entity is organized territorially, this is given to us by Part 1, Article 1. Right? Now, this is the broad framework. Okay? Now the debate is, India, that is Bharat. Why our framers chose these names? Why not Hindustan? As you know, the Hindustan, because we had some members in Constituent Assembly who were supporting this idea, Hindustan should be adopted. So it was discussed, and later the consensus was on this point. That although the word Hindu originated from geographical expression, and that's why some constitutional framers were suggesting this idea, but the point is, later the connotation of Hindu word changed and got attached to a specific religion. And our constitution should reflect a secular power, right? And that is why one Indianized name was adopted, which is Bharat, and the other name India, because around the world, this particular territory, geographical expression, administrative unit was popular with the name India, which originated from this river, Indus, right? Now, apart from this, this is the broad framework of Article 1. We are going to get into the details also. Article 2, Article 3, that talks about establishment of new state, altering the boundary of the states which we already have, or renaming the state. Now, to achieve these objectives, what process we need to follow, this is mentioned in Article 4. So it means Article 1 talks about name, territory, administrative structure, broad administrative structure, how territory is organized, right? Article 2 talks about establishment of new state from outside. Article 3 talks about to change the boundary, name of the states inside, means the states which are already part of Indian territory, right? And Article 4 talks about how to actually achieve that, the process you need to follow. This is the broad framework of Part 1 of Indian Constitution. Now, let's go step by step. This is Article 1. As you can see the name, India, that is Bharat, shall be union of state. Now, there was a debate over this. Why union? Why union and not federation? Because some constitution framers were saying federation should be the word. They were saying federation because already, as we have taken some provisions from Government of India Act 1935, and there was clear division of power between union, or you can say, here I'm going to use the word central authority, or you can say central government, and provincial authority. Provincial means, you can say states. So division of power was already there. And constitutional framers were agreed on this point. Yes, we are going to continue this division, right? Then if division is there, and it means it is clearly visible that it's a property of a federation, then why are you going for the word union? At this point of time, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar stood up in the Constituent Assembly and he explained. He said, my friends, we have to adopt the word union because the most prevalent definition of the word federation gives some more powers to the states. For example, in case of America, the federation, the federal entity USA, United States of America, was formed out of an agreement between states. And if you read American history, you'll find they have fought a civil war just to protect the idea of united federation. And there, if you have to change the boundary of any state, you cannot do this without consent of that state. So it means division of power is there, but state have considerable power. But same cannot be accepted in context of India, because India is a large geographical expression, so much diversity, as well as probability of secessionist movements. And that is why the word union is better. It means we have federal model, we call it quasi-federal, not totally federal, but we are going to use the word union so that a message can be clear that India is an indestructible union. You cannot break that union. Means no part of India can be seceded to other territory. You cannot break India. India is an indestructible union of destructible states. Destructible states means you can change the boundary of the states. For example, from Uttar Pradesh we carved out Uttarakhand. Madhya Pradesh we carved out Chhattisgarh. From Bihar we carved out Jharkhand. Right? I hope this debate, this word got clear to you. Now, apart from this, if you read the statement, the states and territories thereof shall be as specified in first schedule. What does it mean? You should consider it like this. You have a book and you have opened this book and you have just opened first chapter, that is part 1 of Indian Constitution, right? And article 1, as I told you, is telling you name as well as territory, and the constituent units and constant units are states and UTs. Now, how many numbers are there? What is the name of these states? And what is the territorial, what's the area of these? So now think from the drafting committee's perspective. If you add the whole list within this article 1 and you just start naming this at this point of time, at this particular, you can say place, don't you think it will make the whole article 1 reading cumbersome, right? That is why when it comes to adding list, so they were added in the last. So in the last means as we go to the end of the constitution, there you find schedules. So first schedule gives us the information about the territory. Okay, these are states and these are UTs. This is the name and this is the area. Okay, that is why first schedule was used. If you want to know the name area, just go back and check the first schedule. Okay, now the territory of India. Now, my friends, you got two phrases here at this point of time: Union of State and Territory of India. There's a difference here. Union of States and Territory of India. If I ask which expression mentioned in Article 1 is larger, what do you think? This is 1 and this is 2. Some of you might think, oh, this may be equal. What is the difference between Union of States and Territory of India? There's a difference. Territory of India is a bigger expression. Because when you say Union of States, we only talk about states. Right? States. But when we use Territory of India, then Territory of India is a wider expression. Because it has 3 components. Number 1 is states. Number 2, UTs. And number 3, all territories which we can acquire in future legally. And when I say legally, it means there should be law. There should be legal process while you acquire that territory. For example, Sikkim, right? 35th Constitutional Amendment Act, 1974. Then later we change the status. We are going to talk about that. 36th Constitutional Amendment Act. Now the point here is Union of State only talk about states. Territory of India talks about states, UTs and acquired territory. It is a larger expression, right? And this is exactly what is actually mentioned in this clause 3 of Article 1. Okay, these are the 3 areas. Now, as I told you, acquisition legally. And in what way we can acquire? So there are many ways. For example, treaty, we can sign a treaty. Purchase, yes, territories can be purchased. You can take example of Alaska. So US, as of now, if you open the map, you will find Alaska, which is geographically separated, from mainland USA, but it is part of USA. But how? Because USA purchased it, right? Gift, lease, plebiscite means we are going to ask those people, what do you want? Aapki kya raza hai? Kidhar jana chahte ho? If these people say no, we want to be part of India, then they will be part of India, right? Occupation, conquest or subjugation. These can also be ways. Some of you might think, sir, if you're saying conquest, subjugation, occupation, We can march our army and acquire that territory. So how can it be legal? My friend, I've said legal. So we can make it legal now. Take example of Goa. We acquired Goa, which was a Portuguese territory. And how we acquired? We used our force, right? We used our defense forces. So we had a law regarding this. Yes, we are acquiring this Goa in this particular law, right? So I've not used the word international law, although in our constitution, Article 51, we are going to talk about later. Indian constitution mentions that we believe in, you can say, following international laws. But here, the word is legally. Okay? Now, so I hope now this point is quite clear to you. Name of the country and type of the polity, structure, administrative unit. This is what is mentioned in Article 1. This point is now clear to you. Why Union of States? Word is used, not federation. I hope it is clear. Now, this is what I have mentioned. We are different from American Federation. Because in American Federation, if they want to alter the boundary, consider they want to change a boundary of a particular area or of a state, then they need assent of that state. But in case of India, it is not necessary to have assent of state, then only we can actually do that. This is not the case. How we do that, I'm going to tell you the procedure in Article 4. Now, Article 2. Two words are used. Admission or establishment of new states. Now, I'm making a statement and you have to tell me that statement is true or false. Okay? Expression in Article 2 of Indian Constitution, using expression mentioned in Article 2 of Indian Constitution, Indian Parliament can admit or establish a union territory as Parliament deems fit. Okay? Now tell me the statement would be true or false. Here the expression is states, not UT. First of all, some of you might be thinking, what is the difference between the admission and establishment? Heck, you can easily remember it like this. Whenever you have to think of Article 2, you should think that this is India, okay? And using Article 2, we can actually add some other territory into India. Admit and establish as state. A new state. That is why the word is new state. But when it comes to Article 3, Article 3, consider this as India. And Article 3 talks about that Parliament has this power to increase, decrease, alter, rename. 4 points are given. Increase the territory of a state, decrease the territory of a state, alter the boundary of a state, or rename any state. Okay? So this can be done using Article 3. Please remember this. Increase, decrease, alter, rename of states. And which states we are talking about? I'm not using the word new. I'm talking about those states which are already part of India. Right? So it means we are talking about states which are already here. This was a small state. Now with the kripa of Article 3, we have expanded its territory. This was a big state. By the kripa of Article 3, we have divided this state. Consider example of Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh. Uttarakhand carved out of Uttar Pradesh, right? So it means Article 2 is outside matter and this is inside matter, right? I hope now it is quite simple for you to understand, right? And I also focused on one word. In my statement, I said UT. Please remember, Article 2 specifically talks about the word states, new states. Okay? Admission and establishment. What is the difference between the two? एक ही word से काम चल जाता. When I say admission, it means it may be possible There are multiple interpretations to that. One interpretation is it may be possible there's a fully functional state outside Indian territory. For example, Sikkim, fully functional state. There was monarchy there. King was there, right? And now there was willingness of that state, or maybe other way. In case of Sikkim, there was willingness. They wanted to be part of India. And there may not be, there may be a category where there is no willingness. So if that is in the interest of India, we can use the provisions. As I told you, Article 1, or then we talked about the last case. Now the point is, so Sikkim was admitted, admission was happened. And there may be a possibility that there is a territory somewhere in, say, Indian Ocean. There's an island. And there is no one living there. So that is not a functional state. This is just a territory. Okay. So now we want to establish that state and enter it into Indian, you can say Indian territory. Then that can be done also. Means we can get into a process by which we also move our people there. We establish that as a fully functional state, and that then actually we can admit it. Now the point is, the word is new state. And apart from this, it becomes important for us to read this, that the power to admit to the Indian Union, who has this power? Indian Parliament has this power. The power to establish new state. Admission and establishment of state which are not part of India. As I told you, outside. Right? Now, one more line is important in this article, which is, as Parliament deems fit. It means the condition of that state, on what basis that state will be admitted, will be decided by Parliament. And there was a huge debate on this point. It is quite interesting to know. Yes, you can read it here. Let me show you first and then you can read. Consider the case of Sikkim. So in case of Sikkim, what happened when it was added in 1974 by 35th Constitution Amendment. So what happened? It was given a status of associated state. Associated state. And this word, this associated state word, is not mentioned in our Constitution. Then some legal luminaries of the time asked, what is this associated state? This phrase that as Parliament deems fit, does it mean that Parliament can actually invent its own model of governance? Because in case of associated state, what was happening? That Sikkim was not integrated fully in 1974. We took certain responsibilities with regard to Sikkim, for example, foreign affairs, communication, defense, etc. Not fully integrated. But later the demand from the people as well. In 1975, we changed its status and agreed to enter Sikkim as a, established as a, separate state, fully fledged state. It means the status which is there with all other states will be there with regard to Sikkim also. There was another article with regard to Sikkim 371F, means we added this to give some special, clauses to act there. We are going to talk about it when we talk about some special clauses with respect to state. But what is important here is, in this case, what was Supreme Court stand? Supreme Court said that in this article it is saying that as Parliament deems fit, but it does not mean that Parliament can admit a state and bring out a model of administration which is against the basic structure of Indian Constitution. So it means the power of admitting and establishing a new state, as mentioned in Article 2, is not absolute power. Parliament has to adhere to basic structure of Indian Constitution when it comes to the way this particular state is going to be modeled, the way its administration is going to run. Okay, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि we have created a separate state and now we have said this particular state will have its own defense. This particular state is going to have its own army. This particular state is going to have its own foreign affairs. On this basis, we are adding this state. If such kind of arrangement is made, then Supreme Court will say, "आपने कर लिया, अब हमारी सुन लो." Then Supreme Court would say, "This particular process which you have done is null and void." because this is against the basic structure of Indian Constitution. There cannot be any constituent unit in Indian Union which has its own army or own foreign affairs. Right? I hope now you are able to connect with this debate. Now, what does Article 2 of the Constitution of India say? There's an interesting part here. There was one Constituent Assembly member, Mr. Nazaruddin, and he raised the point that as he was reading Article 2 and Article 3, he was saying there's a huge overlap between Article 2 and Article 3 because discussion was still going on. I have simplified this for you because a lot of discussion has already happened. Now clarity is there. Because as these provisions were about to get added, so at that point of Mr. Nazaruddin raised this point and he said, why not amalgamate this Article 2, Article 3? Why you are adding another article? Let's make these provisions add into Article 2 only. Outside matter, inside matter, both add in Article 2. So at this point of time, his amendment, his argument was not accepted. It was said that since we are talking about admission establishment from outside, it should be mentioned in separate article. And when it comes to internal alterations of the boundaries, it should be in Article 3. That is a standard practice in other constitutions as well. Right? Now, Parliament cannot establish a new union territory by passing a law. This is from this particular point where I told you that Article 2 uses the word new state. Okay? It's not using the word union territory. Okay? So this becomes, you should be, having attention to detail to this particular point. Such terms and condition as it thinks fit. So I've already discussed with you, even though it is saying as it thinks fit, but you have to adhere to the basic structure of Indian Constitution. What was the Constituent Assembly debate? So Assembly agreed that given the size of India, an authority need to be given to central authority. It means if some new entity need to be added, then you should not ask states whether we need to add this particular territory into India or not. अगर बाहर से आप कोई टेरिटरी को ऐड कर रहे हो तो स्टेट से थोड़ा ना पूछा जाएगा, ये सेंटर का काम है, right? So center will actually have this power. So at that point of time, some were saying if you are adding some new territory, at least ask states as well. But it was rejected, right? Article 2, Article 3 को overlap कर रहे हैं, merge कर दीजिए. I already told you this debate. Mr. Nazaruddin Ahmed raised this point. Now, Supreme Court judgment, I already told you, did not give Parliament unfettered power to establish or conditions of new state. It should adhere to the basic structure of Indian Constitution. Who is going to tell what is the basic structure? Supreme Court will say. Supreme Court will explain what is basic structure. Okay? Now, this is a simple question for you. Just attempt this. Who has the authority to establish new state in Union of India? Lok Sabha, Parliament, President, Government of that state. देखिए, एक तो होता है आसान, एक होता है लॉलीपॉप. This is lollipop question. Answer is Parliament. Some students who would like to use their mind, they might say, sir, even if we say that the Parliament is having power, but why can't we use tick President? Because any bill related to establishment of a new state or alteration of boundary, that bill need to be signed by President, then only that bill can be turned into act. So without the sign of President, can you actually consider establishment of new state? No, without sign of President we can't. Then why not? We are marking President, we are marking Parliament. So those students who are thinking on these lines, अब थोड़ा ज्ञान को आगे बढ़ाइए. My friends, when we use the word Parliament, Parliament consists of Lok Sabha, Raj Sabha, and President. Right? So when I'm marking as Parliament, so it means the whole process is included there. Got it? Now let's talk about Article 3. What I told you. Article 3 is about internal reorganization of boundary, and power related to it is with Parliament. Right? Told you increase, diminish means decrease, alter, and name. Right? This is what can be done as per Article 3. Right? Article 3 talks about it. Now, a bill contemplating the above changes can be introduced in the Parliament only with the prior recommendation of the President. Now, let's simplify all of this with understanding the procedure. Okay? Now, tell me, which state you want to divide? आप नाम बोलिए, किसको डिवाइड करना है? अभी हम करते हैं. Also, there was a debate, I think 2 elections back in UP. One leader of UP, so she was saying, if people vote me this time in UP Legislative Assembly elections, then she will ensure that UP will be divided into 3 parts. UP, Uttar Pradesh will be divided into 3 parts, as there were such kind of demands from certain sections. So she was making this as an election promise. Now, those people who have not read Indian Constitution, then they may be, influenced कि oh ठीक है, इन्होंने कहा है, जीत गए तो शायद ये कर देंगे. But if someone reads Article 3, Article 4, then that person can actually rise in front of that leader and ask, ma'am, how can you do that? Can you just tell me the process? How can you do that? Because a state government does not have any such power to divide itself into separate state. Only parliament has such power. तो आपके साथ कई बार ये पॉलिटिशियंस फिरकी लेते हैं कि आपको तो कुछ कानून का पता ही नहीं है. That is why knowledge of Indian Constitution is a way to empower our democracy. Right? Now, how the process can start? First of all, the process starts from Council of Ministers at the level of Union. They will propose a bill. And what bill we are talking about? Bill of division, bifurcation of a state. Okay? So this bill of bifurcation of a state, say UP, no hard feelings. Okay? किसी की भावनाएं नहीं इससे मतलब टच होनी चाहिए. ठीक है? Just for an example. So first step is Council of Ministers proposes the bill to divide Uttar Pradesh to Honorable President. Okay? So this bill reaches Honorable President. Now what President is going to do? So this was the first step. Now President, as a second step, will send this bill to state legislature. State legislature. Which state legislature we are talking about? Since we are dividing UP in this case, so UP state legislature, President is going to send this bill. Yes. Now, when President is sending this bill, President is also mentioning the time within which this bill needs to be sent back by state legislature to Honorable President. That is going to be step 3. Right? Now some of you might be thinking, sir, अगर उन्होंने नहीं भेजा तो? Then President will think that these people, I have given them the time and they have not sent this bill, then I am going to start my own process. Okay? And if they have sent this bill back within the time, and within the time, they can also suggest certain amendments. They can say, no, we are not agreeing on dividing Uttar Pradesh. They can say, yes, we are agreeing on dividing Uttar Pradesh, but please give Agra to this side. Please give Unnao to this side. Please give Meerut to this side. Right? So it means they can actually propose their amendments. But I am not writing the word amendment here क्योंकि इनकी amendment की कोई सुनेगा नहीं. कुल मिलाकर बात ये है. Means these amendments which are proposed by state legislature are not binding on president or binding on union. इनको कोई बस नाम मात्र के लिए भेजा है. देख लो डिवीजन हो रहा है. ठीक है. Now, so this is the whole process. Okay, it may be surprising for some. हाँ ऐसा ही है. Now, President is going to send this bill as a 4th step to any of the house, means Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Please understand, I am specifically mentioning the word is either. Either का मतलब क्या है कि कहीं पे भी UPSC play on these lines that with regard to division of bifurcation of a state bill, when it is sent from president to parliament, it is mandatorily first need to be introduced in Rajya Sabha. And many people think, oh, since Rajya Sabha is council of state, it means it need to be first presented to Rajya Sabha. Nahi, aisa nahi hai. It is either. So if it is presented into Lok Sabha should pass and send this bill to Rajya Sabha, and when it is cleared by Rajya Sabha, then this bill will again go to Honorable President. President will then sign this bill like Shashank Tyagi. कुछ नहीं पता टाइम का, right? and then this bill will turn into an act, and congratulations, your state is divided. And now the point is, by which majority this bill was passed in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha? My friends, this was simple majority. Simple majority. Simple majority means more than 50% of votes of those members who were present there. Means more than 50% of present and voting. If they say, yeah, we are in favor of dividing UP, then this will be passed from Lok Sabha, same, simple majority from Rajya Sabha, then it will be presented to President, President will sign and swaha, tathastu, ho gaya kaam. Got it? So this is how this whole process actually goes. Now, point to be noted, recommendation made by state legislature is not binding. It may be outrightly rejected. Okay, same as was the case when Telangana was carved out of Andhra Pradesh, right? State legislature, there was not agreeing, but who? Right? Now the point is, why then we actually send this bill to state legislature अगर इनकी सुननी नहीं है तो? देखिए केस बताया मैंने आपको, but ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है. It may be possible that this state legislature, since they know the ground reality better, they may actually suggest some good amendments which were not actually thought of earlier by Council of Ministers proposed bill, right? So these good amendments can be added, but it is the prerogative of this particular minister who is going to propose this in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, wherever this bill is going to be sent by president, right? So it means idea is that if some good options come in, then we can actually accept that. That's the idea. Okay, so I hope this process is clear to you. Now let's move ahead. Now 2 points need to be added in your information. Number one, if we have sent the bill once, and now at this point of time, one Union Council of Ministers, Mr. Amit Shah, he said, अब कुछ नया idea आया, chronology समझिए, that I want to add some new changes in the area which was given to one part of you can say UP. I want that area, Agra, which was means earlier when this bill was sent here. Earlier we were planning that this will be given to Eastern UP. Then Amit Shah ji said, nahi, ऐसा नहीं, चलो ऐसा करते हैं, let's give it to Western UP. So if such thing is happening, such amendment is happening at this stage, 4th stage, 5th stage. So now, is it mandatory to send this bill back to state legislature? No. This is what I have mentioned. Further, it is not necessary to make fresh reference to the state legislature every time an amendment is moved. Got it? Apart from this, in case of union territory, if you have to divide union territory, now consider that you are dividing Delhi, right? Arvind Kejriwal government was asking that Delhi needs to be given a statehood. Consider that now Union Council of Ministers decided, let's divide Union Territory of Delhi further. Now, so in this case, is it necessary to actually send this bill to the state, the legislature of Delhi? Because Delhi and Pondicherry, and including J&K now, so we have these territories where there's a provision of state legislature, right? So is it mandatory to send the bill to the state legislature of UT as well? No, because it is a union territory. Right? In union territory, union has the hold. Right? So it is no reference needed to be actually concerned legislature. Okay? Parliament has the sole power. Please remember this. These kind of questions are asked. Okay? Now come the Article 4. Article 4 talks about the process by which you are going to use the Article 2 and Article 3. मतलब जो आपकी हसरतें हैं उनको अंजाम कैसे दिया जाएगा, that you have to do using Article 4. So Article 4 says laws made for admission or establishment of new state under Article 2 or changing the boundaries or changing the name, Article 3, this can be done without considering constitutional amendment procedure as mentioned in Article 368. Because constitutional amendment procedure mentioned in Article 368 will require special majority, right? That would be quite cumbersome, tough to do that. Now, Article 4 gives you liberty. That Article 2, Article 3 के अंदर जो आपकी हसरतें हैं, उनको आप अंजाम दे सकते हैं using the procedure of ordinary bill, means simple majority. Right? Now take a look over this. So answer is new state, special. Okay. Question is saying bill for formation of a new state from the existing state should be passed by simple majority. Right? Already told you. Now what is the difference between these majorities? Many students get confused. बहुत ही आसान है, simple majority, as I told you, that more than 50% of present and voting, जो वहां पर मौजूद है और वोट कर रहे हैं उनमें से 50% से ज्यादा ने बोल दिया हाँ, it means passed, simple majority हो गई. Absolute majority means more than 50% of the total strength of house. If total strength of the house is say 404, so absolute majority would be 202 plus, right? Total strength of the house. This special majority has variations as mentioned in Article 368. One variation is 2/3, more than 2/3 of the total strength, or 2/3 of the present and voting. It depends on the condition, in which case you are using special majority. For example, in case of impeachment of president, we use this 2/3 of the total strength, right? And there is another constitution amendment procedure where states are not say impacted, so we can use this more than 2/3 of the present and voting, right? So it means this is 2/3 case is in special majority. Now comes effective majority. Effective majority, the word is effective. It means more than 50% of the effective strength. Now what is the strength? Now take example, there are 100 total seats, total members or total members you can say are 100. टोटल मेंबरशिप भी मान लीजिए लोकसभा की 100, उससे ज्यादा है ही नहीं. टोटल सीट्स ही 100 है. वी आर गोइंग टू हैव इलेक्शंस एवरीथिंग ऑन दीज 100 सीट्स. नाउ 100 मेंबर्स गॉट अपॉइंटेड, तो कोई सरप्राइजिंग वाली बात भी नहीं है भाई. टोटल सीट थी, टोटल मेंबर भी कितने हो गए, 100 हो गए. बट अब हुआ क्या, 10 मेंबर्स डाइड, 10 मेंबर्स से डिस्क्वालिफाइड, कुछ काम किए थे उन्होंने ऐसे. नाउ एज ऑफ नाउ in those 20 seats there's not been any by election, no new member is representing these 20 seats. So as of now what is the total strength of house? Effective strength कितनी है, 80 है, right? So this is the effective strength of house. So now effective majority will be more than 50% of effective strength. It will be 41, right? This is effective majority. Some of you might be asking, sir, ये कहाँ यूज होगी? Yes, take example of Lok Sabha speaker removal, right? वहां पर आप देखेंगे, so कई लोग वहां पर कंफ्यूज होते हैं that special majority है कि effective majority. This is effective majority there. Okay. Now think on this line. Does the power of parliament to diminish the area of state under Article 3 include also the power to cede Indian territory to foreign country? क्या ऐसा हो सकता है? That Article 3 is saying that you can change the boundary, diminish the boundary, increase the boundary, alter, rename. तो diminish का मतलब state की boundary कम कर दो. So is it possible that Parliament is having power that we are going to decrease the boundary of our state, area of our state, and we are going to give remaining part to other country? No, this cannot happen. Okay, if you are doing that, then you have to amend the constitution as well. Now, so why this debate? So there was a case of Berubari Union. बहुत ही सिंपल सी स्टोरी है, सुनिए. In West Bengal, there's a Jalpaiguri district. Up within the Jalpaiguri district, earlier, so there was Berubari. So Berubari Union was a territory, okay, and as you know, for dividing the territory of India and Pakistan, so earlier you know that this Bangladesh was Eastern Pakistan. So Radcliffe was given this responsibility by Mr. Mountbatten. And Radcliffe said, sir, it is nearly impossible to actually divide this big territory, finally within this interval of time. But Mountbatten said, ये तो करना ही है आपको. We have so many troubles here, we have to exit. So at that point of time, there were some lapses, some gaps in the division, or you can say boundary demarcation of India and Pakistan as well. So similarly, so there was no mention of this particular area in official document that this particular area belongs to which country, Eastern Pakistan, यानी कि Pakistan, or India. So Pakistan raised this point. This particular area may be a small area, but why it is not mentioned in the official document? It means I'm going to claim this area. This area is going to be mine. So what was the India's response? अब हम हैं भले लोग, ideal. We said let's do one thing. We are going to divide this area. Half part will be yours and other half will be ours. Although there were some people who were saying कि हम other half भी क्यों दे रहे हैं उनको, right? But the point is, अब यहाँ पर legal question उठ गया. Is it possible legally, constitutionally, to actually give one part of a area which we consider is ours to Pakistan? So when this case was brought up in the Supreme Court, then it was agreed that we cannot cede the territory of India to any foreign entity without amendment to the constitution. सबसे पहली बात तो उसके लिए तो फिर आपको amendment करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? ऐसा आप नहीं कर सकते. दूसरी बात, if there is a land swap, if there's a case of land swap, because there were some enclaves also. Enclaves means छोटे-छोटे areas which officially were in Indian boundary. Official papers were in Indian boundary, but they were administratively controlled by Bangladesh. And there were some areas which were officially towards the eastern Pakistan, or we can say later Bangladesh, but we were administratively controlling them. Because these areas were having, such a intermixing, means certain villages, people intermingling, there was already, movement. And this was one reason that this confusion led to, so many immigrants, coming into India, and you saw a problem in Assam. Now, so Supreme Court held that the power of Parliament to diminish the area of state under Article 3 does not cover secession of Indian territory. क्योंकि अभी आपको बताया था, Article 3 deals in inside matter, and this is like you want to give this particular part to others. That is not possible using Article 3. So hence Indian territory can be ceded to a foreign state only by amending the constitution under Article 68. Right? This is what I have just explained to you. On the other hand, Supreme Court 1969 ruled that settlement of a boundary dispute, जैसे कि land swap, India and another country does not require constitutional amendment. क्योंकि जब आप boundary dispute को settle कर रहे हो, जैसे land swap कर रहे हो, that part enclaves were officially ours but controlled by them. Let's do that. So that will not be amount to secession of your territory, and that is why उसके लिए फिर आपको amendment नहीं करना पड़ेगा using Article 68. फिर वहाँ पर आप simple route use कर सकते हो. It can be done by executive action as it does not involve secession of Indian territory to foreign territory. Then 100th Constitutional Amendment Act happened 2015, which enacted the transfer of certain territories to Bangladesh. Okay, in 2015 it happened. It settled the border confusion with Bangladesh. Now there was integration of princely states as well. There is a story to that. Means when British Parliament enacted this India Independence Act 1947, so they gave three options: either join India or Pakistan, or you can claim independence. अब उसी के reason की वजह से हम देख रहे हैं the Kashmir issue, right? Then this is the story that they means Hyderabad, Junagadh, Kashmir, they were reluctant. Hyderabad got integrated using police action. Junagadh, referendum happened there. And Kashmir, there was instrumental taxation, right? So this is the map. You can see Hyderabad, Junagadh, Dadar Nagar Haveli was part of Portuguese. We took Goa, it was also part of Portuguese. Pondicherry, it was part of French. Then we took them because we wanted to build a consolidated India. Now, coming to the point, reorganization of state. Reorganization. It means changing the boundaries. And some of you might think, तो कौन सी बड़ी बात है? अब ये भी बात तो करिए, Article 3. But the point is, on what basis we should actually divide state, right? So, as we actually got independent, so that in some parts, there was a rise of this movement of getting a separate state on the linguistic lines. Means just on the basis of language, we want a separate state. Although that's a very important issue because it is having logical reasons also, right? And the reason is, the view says, if an area is organized based on common language, then it will become easier for these people to connect with local administration in their own language. And since these are integrated on the basis of language, it will actually spur development as well, because they will feel more connected to the administration of newly independent India. So now on this point, Dhar Commission was actually made. So Dhar Commission was made to check on what basis we can actually do the reorganization. Dhar Commission said, on linguistic lines, no. No to linguistic lines. But we can do this on administrative convenience basis. If a large area is being administered from one center, and it is this one center is not having administrative capacity to fulfill the aspirations of these people, then divide it. But the demands were on. At that point of time, there was another JVP committee was made. Jawaharlal Nehru, V. Vallabhbhai Patel, P. Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. They also rejected this demand of linguistic language as the basis of creation of state. So they also said security, unity, economic prosperity would be the basis of creation of new state. But simultaneously, there was a movement which was building up in Madras state. One famous leader, Potti Sriramalu, he died, or you can say that he was fighting for the cause of a separate state of Andhra should be carved out of Madras state on the basis of Telugu language. So when he died, finally government created first linguistic state of Andhra. Now Fazal Ali Commission was made because now many other states were demanding. Jaise Saurashtra, one Marathi speaking people saying we need Maharashtra, Gujarati speaking saying Gujarat, and similar demands were actually bringing up. Fazal Ali Commission was made. So Fazal Ali Commission finally accepted, but Fazal Ali Commission also gave some guidelines. It cannot be just, on the basis of language. We need to think of preservation and strengthening of unity of India, linguistic and cultural homogeneity. Financial, economic and administrative aspects are very important. Even if you carve out a state on the basis of language, but they are not having enough resources or a financial capacity, then it will be difficult to sustain that particular structure. Planning and promotion of the welfare of the people, right? These should be the basis. That is what Fazal Ali said. And then we saw creation of states on the basis of language as well. I hope this lecture added some value in your preparation. See you in the next lecture. Till then, Shashank Tyagi signing off. If you find any difficulty, then you can shoot me a message on Telegram or Twitter. And for this PDF, you can find this PDF in Shashank Tyagi for you Telegram. Take care.
स्टडी IQ IAS अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।